Hello? Gender?
Joining us today for a GenDerburger is one of the driving forces behind Brooklyn Liberation, Doll Invasion, and the editor-in-chief of Them magazine. Please give it up for Fran Tirado.
Hello.
The crowd goes wild.
Happy to represent gender.
Editor-in-chief, I love that as a gender.
Yeah, and for a brand that's named after a pronoun.
Exactly.
Fab. The cis gay guy that invented our name really popped off with that one.
They was the dictionary word of the year, end of 2019.
I didn't know that, but that makes perfect sense, obviously. I think I was a he, they at that point. Or maybe strictly he, him. But there was something bubbling, at least.
And your pronouns now?
She, her. Guilty as charged.
Gorgeous. Two gals at the bar.
That's what we are.
Enjoying a burger.
A gender burger.
My theory about burgers and gender, my theories about burger... It's just gonna happen. Ding, ding, ding! Just bringing a keg in. My theories about gender and burgers are that we're all born unseasoned lumps of meat. And gender is the fun toppings we get to put on ourselves.
I would agree with that assessment. Mm-hmm. I would say gender can be as big or as small of a burger as you would like. All the fixings, all the toppings. I'm personally a condiments queen. I'm very passionate about burgers. And hearing this analogy, I think it kind of makes sense.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Really and, like you said, you were he, they a couple years ago.
Yes.
We can go from rare to medium rare to medium well to well done.
Cooked, honey.
You know?
Exactly. I mean, I would like to think, I'm not going to say I'm fully cooked because I feel like gender is like this ongoing project all the time. But I definitely am not changing my pronouns again. And luckily, I've gotten to keep my name and everything. So.
Mm-hmm.
Fran.
Come on.
Like the nanny.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure exactly if I had a point of reference at this point in my life because I was 6 years old. But I remember writing in my journal, I am a girl. Period.
And writing.
And exactly. And I don't really remember like why I wrote it. I think I was like, oh, journals are for secrets. But, you know, I did come out as gay when I was like 17 or 18. And I feel like had a beautiful era as a gay man. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of times dolls or like trans people in general have this like resentment or shame or desire to like pretend like all of that didn't happen. But I feel like where I've arrived now is that it is a gender. You know?
Hey!
Hello!
Clock me!
It is a gender.
100%.
I don't know if I can I say fag? I mean, it'll probably be bleeped. But I think it is a gender, and I think it's especially true in the burp is coming again. Oh, it's not happening. I spooked it. Wait.
There we go.
Oh,
Julius is a safe space
good.
for burps.
Thank you. As I said, it's a gender.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it took me a minute to stop conflating transness and trans womanhood with this preconceived idea of what a woman should be or what a feminine person should be. And I think in Brooklyn, New York, I've had the beautiful experience of having many trans women in my life who are, I would describe as of center, and that I belong to a generation of trans femmes that were first. And I really love the kids these days. I love that trans kids can actually come out as trans first. But it's funny to think that like I belong to like a generation of trans femmes that is like maybe getting smaller. Mm-hmm. That we were first, and that is our gender, or at least a part of it.
And how that's expansive.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's like, oh, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
The closet narrative. It's like, no, there's before and there's after. And the before is filled with shame.
I think that is like, I think seeing the totality of my experience as additive, as you said, burger, that maybe being a gay guy was, I'm not going to say a piece of lettuce, but like a grilled onion.
For the folks at home, it was recently revealed that Fran and I went to rival high schools. In America, we're taught rivalries and oppositions, and like we grew up less than a mile from each other, but the fact that we lived across a highway meant that we were diametrically opposite, and that we learn opposites and binaries at every step of the way. So I don't know if I have a question about that. I just kind of am fascinated by it, and it's something happening between us, and for us to meet together at this bar after drinking the same water as a kid, I'm just thrilled.
Not to derail us, but I recently watched The Passion of the Christ.
I would say that's right on track.
I hadn't watched it since I was a kid. My family used to watch it every year on Easter.
Wow. Anything new that you gleaned from it this watch?
I thought it was fabulous. I was like, what? This is like phantasmagorical Tim Burton level goo and gore, blood squirting out of every orifice. Jesus is hot. Satan is played by a woman in a bald cap.
I haven't seen this movie.
It's trans as hell. It's crazy. I know, Jesus Christ was so kinky is like kind of a basic take, but I actually thought just the drama was Baz Luhrmannian. Sorry, I hate to say it, but I was like, this is gay. Yeah.
It's gay as hell. And that's how they got so powerful, is because they put on shows. They were like, look at this! Look at this room, how big it is!
I wasn't raised Catholic, but the girls were giving shows. They were giving costumes, they were giving regalia, they were giving icons, they were giving art. It's giving shows. I love that.
It's pure show. It is smoke and mirrors. Sacha Velour tour. Period. Is there any piece of writing, or multiple pieces of writing, that you would suggest some queers watching should read and turn the phone off for a second?
The first thing that implored me to turn my phone off was the writing of Pema Chodron, a Buddhist. I didn't even read a full book. I read and there's this thing called the Pocket Pema Chodron. It's like this big. And I read it in a sitting, and I had never really read Buddhism before, and I don't consider myself a Buddhist, but I was like, oh, like she made some points. And I think that was maybe the beginning or around the time when I decided to turn off all notifications on my phone. And I decided to
detach.
Yes. The other thing that I think I would love to plug is my friend Rose Damu's book that's coming out. You can pre-order it. It's called Best Woman by Rose Damu. It's like my best friend's wedding, but trans. As a rom-com, the plot doesn't orient itself around transness, around the problematization of transness, and I think I would love to continue on this era of media that's really exciting to me, where trans people get to worry about things that aren't their gender. That a trans person can sit on a park bench and lick an ice cream cone, and there's nothing actually going on beyond that. Like trans people that can be unremarkable, or trans people that can be villainous and be make bad decisions and stuff. And I think that narratives like that, where we have queerness and transness without all of the baggage to weigh down the ecosystem of it, it's my favorite thing.
Do you think queer culture is alive and well, or do you think it has been commodified?
Yikes.
A beefy topic.
My theory is that, LGBTQ as an entity has become now starting to become conflated with corporate, which is why I think we should just all only exclusively say it, because those things can't be branded.
Oh yeah, I'm a trans.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, that's it.
You're the editor-in-chief, which I love that as an identity, editor-in-chief. Of them, how do you balance entertainment and journalism? As I'm trying to do currently.
Yeah.
And can you even balance it anymore?
I think that this is specific to my brand, to them, to us, to all the work that my staff and my writers and my team do to pump what we write and talk about every day. I think that because of our audience, LGBTQ people, it's actually in our interest to be as creative and strategic as we can to find the intersection of politics and pleasure. I think, for decades, since Julius era, since eras where our rights were down bad and we were in a completely different reality, there's always been this group of people that says, hey, this thing is too political. Oh, will you stop talking about AIDS? We got it. That was the founding of Out Magazine, was an editor who said, oh, how do we create entertainment journalism while also speaking to the current moment in the early 90s? The media that I love to consume and the things that I always try to push out with them is something that actually takes the politics or takes the justice orientation of what we're talking about and making it fun. A couple months ago when Donald Trump was talking about making mice transgender, the team was like, what if we did a list of mice ranked from least to most transgender? And I was like, well, Minnie is cis, first of all.
Cis girl.
Exactly.
Born and raised, nothing changed.
And I feel so strongly that LGBT people, but especially trans people, need reprieve. And so it's always a priority of mine to say, let's seek pleasure. The politics and the drudge and the things that are hard to talk about or hard to report on, we're always going to do those. So let's prioritize and seek out the pleasure, because that actually now comes less intuitively to us, in my opinion.
That's what I love about Doll Invasion, is that it's a beach getaway for trans folks, dare I say the word folks, into a enclave of predominantly cis gay guys, right? So that's what I love about you, is that you take, like you just said, take this, bring it to that. That's trans in itself. What's so important about that bridge between the cis gay male and the trans feminine in this chopped up LGBTQ isolated culture?
Faggots and their friends between revolutions. Larry Mitchell. Tourmaline, who wrote the new preface for that book, stated very clearly faggot is a gender. Trans women can be faggots. Not all trans women are faggots, but a lot identify as such. And there are a lot of trans men that also identify as dykes and so forth. I feel like the more and more we coalesce and the more we coalition build, and then in addition to the kind of weight of coalition building, also just party together and have fun, the more we can feel, the less we can feel in opposition to each other. At the point I founded Doll Invasion a couple years ago, the tradition of galvanizing trans people to descend on a historically cis gay male space for one weekend, I was really fatigued by the urgency. I was fatigued by this conflation of trans identity with charitable cause. And because non-trans people and non-LGBTQ people often talked about trans people as if we were kind of like a, aw, or like something to save.
You want to
or
kill yourself.
There's this, yes. There's this bit, exactly.
Apparently you all want to die.
Don't kill yourself, you're so pretty. It's fatiguing. It sucks for everybody. Mm-hmm. Everybody, even non-verbal, you can see in their eyes that they have pity for you. And I was so sick of that. And I wanted to do what a lot of trans people have been doing in nightlife spaces and organizing in events, to insist that we're more than a cause. That actually we're really fucking fun. But in addition to that, we want people to step into our world for one day and actually see, oh my God, they're fucking in public. They are descending on a poolside 1980s mansion in a boat, dressed in a regalia. I want everybody to see the world building that we as a community have been forced to do because we were not invited to the world as it were before. And it's named after this historic moment in the 70s drag invasion, Fire Island, this cross-dresser named Terry was kicked out of a restaurant in the Pines. And she was pissed. She went to Cherry Grove, she told all her friends, and her friends were like, we're gonna get them. They all got into a water taxi, dressed in full geesh, descended on the Pines in drag on the 4th of July, and they were like, this is us, fuck all of you. And lo and behold, drag invasion was founded. And that idea of invasion, playful and irreverent as it is a way to insist on taking up space, to insist that even though the world has not invited us, we are actually bringing the world to you. Or if you would like, you can come into ours for a day. Julius, to me, encapsulates, again, this great intersection of things, something that feels important, resonant, a moment in history, many moments in history, but a really singular moment in history that defines so much of what we've lived up to as LGBTQ people. And now we get to sit back and actually enjoy the ambiance and like make out in the back and like eat a burger. And I don't know, I think that's kind of my favorite thing about this place.
To gab.
To gab. Just girls gabbing.
Just girls gabbing. Thank you so much for gabbing with me at the bar today.
My pleasure.
Folks, check out the required reading. Check out them.us. Thank God for Fran Tirado. Donate to Doll Invasion. I love you all. Keep reading. Get off your phones for a second. Okay? Love ya. Bye. Woo! Thank you.
Thank you.
You're
Peter.
heaven. You're heaven.
Wait, I want to talk to you for like 3 more hours.
I know, we could keep going.
Yeah, that's it.